Hey guys, it's Ping and Sean Klinger here with Vital MX, and we're at Fox Raceway today with a test that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. You've seen us do 2-stroke versus 4-stroke before with other bikes, 150s versus 250Fs and things. But this is the one I've been really wanting to do, 250 2-stroke versus 250 4-stroke. And the reason I'm a big proponent of this and excited about this is that I think we should go to a straight 250 class. I think when you're talking about ways to make privateers more competitive and keep it affordable for them, you could very easily do that by just allowing 250 2-strokes to compete in the 250 class. You'd still have all your high-level guys racing these because that's what they want to sell. But for a kid who is fast, he's maybe on the brink of making mains or he's making night shows, he could buy 2 of these for the price of 1 4-stroke race bike. And that's significant for those people. Now, how competitive are they? Some would say it's an unfair advantage. They've done this successfully in Canada and Australia, running a straight 250 class. So we thought we'd give it our shot today. And we've got multiple metrics we use. Sean, kind of tell them what we went through here today.
Like Ping said, today we're at Fox Raceway. It's cool. They have 2 different tracks. There's a main track that Ping rode. He rode both of the bikes. I rode the vet track. I'm 35, so I can get away with that. The main thing that we used to see our lap times was a cross box. And if you're familiar with Lit Pro, it's pretty much a very similar program. It has an app, keeps track of lap times. So we rode each bike and kind of threw down our fastest laps, recorded it, and now we're gonna compare them, see how we did.
Yeah, and there's other metrics as well. Which one do you just enjoy riding more? What are the strengths and weaknesses of each bike? So we're gonna kind of break that down. And I'll go first here if we're getting started. So surprisingly, a little bit, I guess, I was quicker on the 2-stroke. And I was pretty consistent all the way around. 201s on this track today. I mean, pretty much all of them were 201s, but I did lower 201s on this bike and 1 2-minute. What was that? 2-minute 0.87. So that was my fastest lap time of the day on the 2-stroke. So for me, I found one, I can definitely feel that in the meat of it, it's got more horsepower. There's a big step up here behind us that's 3rd gear, everything you've got. And I was getting over it clean on the 2-stroke, and I would just sort of catch the top on the 4-stroke. So you can definitely feel in that meat of the power, the 2-stroke makes more. However, there's sections here that are off camber, some kind of slippery stuff where you're really just working the throttle or sort of sweeping into a turn. And I definitely can feel where the 4-stroke just bites better with the front end and sort of plants, because as you roll off the throttle and that engine brake sort of pushes that front end in, it sets that front wheel into the ground and makes it bite and allows you to turn and have a bit more front end traction. So I definitely noticed that some of the stuff where you want to roll on nice and smooth, it's harder on a 2-stroke, right? I mean, the power comes on a little bit more abruptly and aggressively, which is fun to me. But if you're trying to do consistent laps, we had good traction today. You go somewhere hard and slick, it's going to be tougher. I'd probably be faster there. But for me, we kind of sat on our tailgates talking about it after we got done riding. I said, well, which one do you enjoy most? And for me, it is this. I just found myself riding the 2-stroke. I'm liking the sound of it. I can hit turns and cut out of them real quick and blow berms up. I'm just having more fun. And I think if you were allowed to race this, they'd have to put some restrictions on it, because you could get to a place where this is way too much horsepower. You'd be outshining these big time. But if you have kept cylinder head and cylinder stock, or throttle them down with crappy fuel, there's ways you could do it to manage it where these privateer kids could be competitive, but they're not going to start whole shotting every race, and you're going to see people switch back to them. So that's my 2 cents. What do you got, Sean?
So I had a little bit of a different experience here today, because both lap times and fun factor were the 4-stroke for me. So on the vet track, I was on the 4-stroke, the fastest lap was 1 minute 59 seconds, and on the 2-stroke 250, my fastest lap was 2 minutes 4 seconds 59.59, about 5 seconds slower on the 2-stroke. Now, I think I want to attribute that to a couple different things. One, I didn't grow up riding 2-strokes. I started riding later. It was already the 4-stroke era, so I just rode 4-strokes. I think a lot of young guys coming up now are still in that same boat. I mean, they're not going to have a lot of 2-stroke racing experience other than really small bikes. The other thing is that, yes, you have to be more technically savvy to ride that bike. I forgot about engine braking and the lack thereof. if I wanted to be a better rider, like riding that for a year, a couple years, I think it would make me a better rider. Even being a 250, 4 strokes across the board make you lazy. They are very convenient. They have, the engine braking is already built in there. The torque, you can really mess up anywhere. Like even with a 250 2-stroke, it has more torque and power than a 125, but it's still like you have to be in the right gear. You can't just fudge around and be 3 gears too high and still be able to make whatever you want to do. I think the deeper and longer and faster a track gets, the more comfortable I would be on the 250 2-stroke. The slicker and the harder packed, that's where the 4-stroke shines, and that's just where I'm more comfortable riding. So overall, on both fun factor and lap times, the 4-stroke 250 was my choice. And I don't have a problem with the 250 2-stroke. It's going to take a little bit more to get used to it and to ride it fast.
Yeah, and there's a lot of factors that go into both. Early on, I was always liking the 2-strokes better because the 4-strokes blew up a lot. We're way past that. These things are bulletproof now. Probably less maintenance on a 4-stroke than a 2-stroke. So it really comes down to what kind of riding are you doing? What's your goals? What do are you wanting to just go have fun? Are you actually racing competitively? Are you going to throw some money into the motor? Like, what are you going to do? So that's a decision each guy's got to make. But I did think it was interesting, and I agree with everything you said. It's definitely takes more technique to ride the 2-stroke properly and go fast on it. The 4-strokes have just made it easier to ride better. I encourage you guys in the comments below, what are your thoughts on a straight up 250 class? Pros and cons, I'd love to hear it. I just think it's a good discussion to get started, and it's going to begin at a local level, right? So go talk to your local track owner, promoter, and say, hey, why don't you just do this? Open it up for everybody. Let's get more people involved. You know how many people would be cheering for a 2-stroke out there at your local national? If some guy, there's a couple guys that have done it, but if there was a few more, they'd have a built-in fan base. They got a bike that's competitive horsepower-wise, and they're doing it on a fraction of the budget they would have to spend building a good 4-stroke.
And I also think that, like, anyone out there thinking, oh, that would be a competitive advantage, like too much so, I would say that they're not easy to ride, especially if you're talking Supercross. I think anyone would have a challenge, even ex-pros, like riding it at the same pace as 4-strokes.
Yeah, amen. Big thank you to SKDA for putting together these graphics for us. Thank you to Yamaha for letting us use these bikes for this test. Hope you guys appreciate it. If there's another type of test you'd like to see, the 2 versus 4 or something else, leave us a note in the comments. Thanks for watching.